Hi, everyone. Welcome to the iNETrepreneur radio show on the iNETrepreneur Network. My name is Robert Jones. I'm owner and chair of the iNETrepreneur Network, and I'm glad that you guys are all here today to be with us. Today's show is about the power of energy. It's about harnessing your energy, your inner power, on how your energy can help fuel your business for total success. I mean, I have to admit, not all my life have I really felt that, energy was really a part of the equation other than physical. I always thought it was always about physical. But as I've grown in my journey as an entrepreneur and as a person, I know now that it's more than just the physical sense. There's energy in the mental sense. There's energy in the spiritual sense. There's energy that's all around us. And we can either take in the energy which builds us and helps build others, or we can work against it. And as I've been keep working on my journey, what I have found is our guests today are all experts on how to feed and fuel the energy that creates beauty in everything, whether it be your family, your business, yourself. So I'm really excited. So what I would like everyone to do who's on the channel today is go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you. Each and every time when we start our radio show, a signal will go out and we'll contact you to say, hey, come on to the show and be with us. I also want to talk about our book that is out. It's called The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Networking Quotes by Entrepreneurs, Business Owners, and Influencers. In this book, it gives you a place to have a page where you can express your hope, your support, and your inspiration to other small business owners, influencers, and experts who may have had stressful times during this pivot of COVID, which we've had for the last couple of months. And one thing I've noticed, though, is we're now in the fourth quarter of the year. And I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs have said, the heck with the second, the heck with the third quarter, I'm going to make things stellar. So that is what this book is about. It's about your voice reaching other to inspire entrepreneurs just like you. So it will be in hardback, it will be in a paperback, and it will also be in a digital format. And our publisher estimates that nearly 250,000 lives within the first month of release of this book in 2021 will get to see this beautiful 365-page book. So I'm really excited to start our show. And with me today, I have our first guest, Yvonne Turner. Hi, Yvonne. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing really awesome today.
I love awesome. Awesome's really good. I love that we were able to talk just a little bit before, everyone kind of came on. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. There was this kind of Mac versus PC thing going on. And are we going to be on the phone? I don't know. I always say if all else fails, let the carrier pigeon prevail. So, but today we have everyone here, and so I'm really excited. So, Yvonne, we've known each other for a little bit of time. I think that we actually met back when I was attempting to start a holistic networking community called United Health Association. Is that about right?
I believe so.
Like with that Penny's store in Tempe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I'm dating myself right, that was about 4 or 5 years ago. So we've known each other a little bit of time.
Yes,
You
we
know.
have.
So one of the things I like to do when I'm talking with my guest is I always believe there's 3 things that make up a person. At least this is my simple definition. Okay. So I always say you come in with your nature. Okay. It's what God gives you. It's what our parents give you. And then you grow up with your nurture. But lastly, the thing that we have is our noodle. So those are the 3 things. So with you, what I would like to ask is, tell me a little bit about your background and upbringing.
Well, my background is very different from how I live today. I actually grew up in a very impoverished environment, dysfunctional family. Had to learn to be a survivor and gather resources to literally survive in life. So it was very challenging. I actually had a challenge even going through school in my younger years, and graduation was a struggle. I'm
And
actually a survivor
you know,
from all the aspects. So, yeah.
right, and I hear the word challenge, and it challenge can mean a lot of different things, for a lot of different people. And a lot of people don't know that about this in my life, but I used to be a stutterer. I used to be mute, and it took me about 5 years of good training and coaching by speech pathologists and other doctors to get me to the point to where I would start talking to people.
Mhm.
Everyone's challenge is different. Tell me a little bit more about your challenge.
Well, I was faced with challenges where I was a child, both me and my brother growing up pretty much on our own without our parents. And you talk about the lack of family dynamics and support, and we had to learn to lean on each other to not only survive and where we were going to get our resources for our food and all that, and just make it day to day. So that was a very big challenge. Also, in our environment, there was a lot of not nice people. So we had to also figure a technique of how we were going to be protected and not in harm's way or people trying to hurt us, especially hurting me. Like I was captive and almost a rape victim, and I was able to not no harm was brought to me. The person released me, but just that was my day-to-day survival. I had to survive from not being raped by people, being that victim. And that was a true challenge there for me. And then trying to go to school and where was I going to get my next meal? I literally had one outfit, all our clothes were everything, that you live with, your necessities. We didn't have, me and my brother, and we learned to function and find you know, go out and, collect, make money by selling bottles, and we lived in from nature. We
And
lived from the food provided out in nature. So we took good care of ourselves.
well, I mean, and I like that you say that, because I mean, one of the things that we have to do is we have to have, the quality of water, the quality of food, the quality of an environment, and a lot of those struggles, not everyone has that, but a lot of people do have that. And I think that also, I what I've seen in my life is it creates, two types of people: those who are really hungry for more, and those who become hateful.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is those who are hungry, they end up somehow blossoming in ways because of the right information and people around them. And those who become hateful, they don't actually have any amounts of support many times. And it sounds like you did have some support. And with that, I know, thank you for your service, because I was the United States Marines. I know that you were a 20-year veteran, but you probably learned a lot in your military. How has that shaped you in what you do today?
Oh, I have to admit that was a turning point for me. To
Mhm.
me, my whole life changed. I learned that not only that I wasn't alone, that there was many people out there faced with many struggles, but then being a part of the military community, there was a lot of talents, and those people had visions, they had goals. They didn't let their past stop them from accomplishing where they were going in the future, and that meant a lot to me. And being the spouse of the military there, it came with its challenges, but I was able to overcome them and be supportive. It's a whole different world, right, to be the spouse and supporting the active duty, but it really allowed me to grow in a way that I never could imagine. Plus, it taught me a lot of values and how I could incorporate that in my own family, and that I could function and have a regular normal life like everyone else too. And seeing that was very encouraging, being around that community.
And it taught me, one of the things that the military taught me, because I was in the Marines for 6 years, is, it taught me that family can have a different definition. Family can be a biological, but a family can also be those around us who care about us. And, you learn a lot about teamwork. I call it the improvise, overcome, and adapt with others in the military. In the Marines, it's a tough outfit. There was many times that I was like, what am I doing in this? And I really had to, learn to, first accept that I was in it. And then second, learn from it. And many times we go into things and we kick and we're not open in what like life paths are like bringing to us. And like the last 3 years that I was in was like really revelational to me, because I noticed that there's a big difference between, going upstream and going downstream. And that was pretty amazing to me. And that's how I think about energy, as an entrepreneur. So many times, we fight so many things. And sometimes we work so hard on the what, we forget to work on our why. And I believe if we constantly also work on our why, our business, becomes so much easier and more fulfilling. Now, being that you've been in the military, there must have been like a pivot point in your career where you said, I'm going to become the silver healer. Was there any like one epiphany point that showed up and it was like, I am now the silver healer? Or was it a series of little steps that got you to where you are now?
It actually was a series of little steps. Being part of the military community as a spouse, you work in many different fields. And when, the medical field was always my passion, and there was certain incidents and things always occurring. So I started tuning into that. So every step helped me reach another level. And eventually I worked as a nurse for a very long time. And during that, I kept thinking, gosh, meeting all the different doctors and seeing all the different things available to us just kind of made me wonder, what else is out there.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, in being in the military, we were overseas, and I kept meeting a lot of natural holistic doctors and people who worked with them, and had a chance to communicate with them. And I was really amazed at everything, all our different resources that we had out there. So that was kind of, the beginning. And eventually what led me to, being an energy healer is the fact that I was faced with struggles myself. Working as a nurse for many years, I didn't take care of myself. I thought I was, but
Yeah.
we're committed to the job, to take care of our clients, and we forget to take care of ourselves.
Well,
And
and one thing I talk about, and I talk about this with my wife, and I talk about this with other female entrepreneurs, is many times females, definitely forget to take care of themselves. They take care of a lot of other people, their husbands, their children, their parents, etc. I am seeing a subtle shift. I'm seeing more men start to take care of, we're being more accepted on living life a little bit differently than maybe our dads and granddads did. But I really do feel that, in the generation that I've lived in, women really have taken the brunt of being the caretakers for everything and everyone around them. And, many times the life pursuits actually get put on hold, for many years, later on. I even think of my mom, she was a single mom, and she got her master's degree and she got her PhD, raising me. And to put in the hours, to put in the effort, to put in the love, the energy that she had to bring to the table, to do both, just amazes me now. And as a kid, in those days, I had no perspective on it. It was like, that's just what moms do. And I really salute like everyone here today that I'm speaking with. I get 3 just wonderful, beautiful, powerful women that I get to hang out with, and so I just want to say that I appreciate you, Yvonne. You've helped so many people, but when you're thinking about what you do, what is like the greatest impact that you can bring your clients?
well, the greatest impact I can bring to them is helping them refocus, rebalance, and change their health history so they can prosper in their life as they move forward, and continue like if they're working on their business, the things that I do help them regain all that, and be able to envision and accomplish those goals without setbacks, and how to protect yourself from things that could be harming you, because keeping your well-being is really vital, and
Mm.
uh, having optimal health. So the things I do help people reach that and keep that 24 hours a day. So that's a big difference, and this is all done literally without using medication. There's just using your own, igniting your own body's energy so you can keep thriving at your best level on a daily basis,
Well,
24/7.
and I'm glad you brought that up because, focus and being balanced and, being truly healthy, again, it has a lot of different meaning to different people. And
Yes.
when you talk about medication, a lot of people don't know this about me. Some do, but a lot don't. I used to work for the nutraceutical and pharmaceutical world for a while. My background was programming. I did search engine optimization. I did a lot of web development. I did call scripts and marketing. And, my master's at ASU was exercise physiology and sports psychology. And I've always championed myself as being a very healthy individual, but health can be, in certain ways, one of two ways. It's like, do you take health in a pill, right? Or
Mhm.
sometimes do you take health, in a natural, more holistic way? But the other thing I used to always caution people with too is, even if it's nutraceutical as opposed to pharmaceutical, that doesn't always mean that it's healthy, is it?
Exactly. It doesn't always mean that it's healthy.
And it's amazing. When I worked for those companies, we would create 30-day supplies of medicine, sell it for 90 to 120 bucks, and it cost us about $1.47 to make it. So you
Mhm.
can see how much money is in the nutraceutical and pharmaceutical field, and I did very well in that industry. But I left myself when the CEO of the company I was working for got really mad because we weren't hitting our target goals and profit. And he slammed the table and he says, "We need more sick people." And I thought to myself, this is not the industry I want to live in anymore, because it's not the value that I put on people, And I left the industry, and I've always been very supportive, even in Network Together and iNETrepreneur Network, to bring people who really focus in on good quality health. Because I've always said you can have all the wealth in the world, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't enjoy it with good health. So another thing I want to ask is, like, what are some of the greatest accomplishments you've had with some of your clients in the past couple of years?
Well, some of the greatest accomplishments with some of my clients is some of them were struggling with low energy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm drained every day and nothing's making a difference. And just showing them some of the techniques that they apply, and using, um, sharing with them the missing things that could help turn that around made a big difference. They're like, wow, in just one session with you, I've already feel it. I wish I could take before and after pictures for people when I'm working with them. And also, some people were faced with medical health challenges, and I had the opportunity to work right on the spot with some of them. Um, One was in a hospital for like 4 days, and I was able to come in and work with them and help them with utilizing their energy. And within 24 hours, there was a significant change in their movements and what they were able to do. So that was pretty amazing. I've also been able to work with some heart patients, two different situations, and they explained to me that not even the medicine, one of them had actually had several heart attacks, and they said, when I was done, I felt like a different person. Um, and the other one was like, they hadn't even returned back to their doctor. They were going like on a every 2 weeks, and just showing them how to work with their own body's energy and staying hydrated was key to each working with each different situation and teaching them how to ground themselves. That was like a big thing.
Oh, yeah, you and I talked
Yeah.
about that before the show today, and it makes a tremendous difference. If you have a great morning, if you're having a bad morning, doesn't matter. Just getting out of the office, or even if at your home, getting out of the home office, just kick off the shoes and just look for the nearest park and just walk in the grass for a little bit. It is a tremendous difference by grounding yourself. It brings so much more energy when you go back in.
Yes, it really does. And so seeing that, has kept me motivated. I was working as a nurse full time and I had to retire early. And as I was entered into this new career, it has motivated me to get out there and help those who want to be helped, that they want to take control and charge of their own health, to make that difference for themselves and live joyful and stress free and stay connected with not with yourself and enjoy your life. I can truly say this because I not only applied it with other folks, but I've applied it to myself. Just like I spoke about my challenges, all the trauma, and literally, it's using this and connecting to yourself releases years and years of that, and you can't get that, through uh, using other types of medical techniques that are out there. These techniques are tied in with the Chinese medicine.
Mhm.
And I feel blessed to be able to go out and share this gift to teach people how they can enjoy their lives and reconnect again and give them the hope that they feel like there's no hope. Well, there is hope. And would love to, that's just my passion now
And
is
and how
finding the.
and how will people, get a hold of you? I have your information scrolling across the screen. What is the best way to contact you? Phone or the email, or what do you offer someone? Do you have any specials right now to kind of have a first conversation with a potential client?
Yes, I offer a 30-minute conversation so we can create a plan on what we need to work on. I use various techniques that help support the body's energy for 24 hours a day. So I do offer the free consultation with them. The best way to reach me is really by phone, calling me and um, and letting me know. I check my emails every day and all that, so, my email is also really good, to reach me, and, I had a Silver Healer email, but, COVID-19 hit, so I had to pivot myself, and, so this is the 2 best ways to reach me now.
Well, I really appreciate you being on the show today, Yvonne. I'm glad that we've known each other all these years, and I've seen such tremendous growth even in the last 4 years with you, and I am very honored that you're on our show today.
I thank you so much for inviting me to be on your show and allow me to share not only my background but share the the new technology that's out there, the new to help protect ourselves in a different way um, that to reach as many people so they know, hey, these are alternatives and you can really help yourself by using your own body's energy to heal. And yeah, so I thank you so much for having me on your show today and
Thank
allowing me to share.
you. All right.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Wow, look at like that. Someone else appears. How did that happen? Oh my gosh. Marisa, welcome to the iNETrepreneur Network's show, iNETrepreneur Radio. We're glad to have you
Robert.
here today.
So nice to be here. Thank you for asking me to be a part of your show. Excited to be here.
Well, I'm sure you were able to hear a little bit about our conversation earlier, and isn't it tremendous? Just that's why I love, you know, I talk with people all the time, and it's just like, we can see a person and we can know them, and sometimes you get them on a radio show, or you get in that one phone call, or you hear them talking to someone else, and you just stop and you're like, wow, I never knew that about you. Or how did I not see that? And that's what I love about just, conversations. I mean, there's a saying that, don't judge a book by its cover. I mean, certainly it's apt because, what we offer is so deep. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, the power of healing is incredible. The power that we have within ourselves is really extraordinary. We can create our own magic. I know that might sound a little woo-woo, but it's so true. I mean, we can be victim, or we can be, we can thrive.
And I love that you said that, because I do, it goes back to definitions, and you said magic. And to me, magic for me is like one of the most beautiful words that I've ever heard. To me, it's the creation of something special that I can't do myself. It doesn't have to be, someone hiding behind a curtain or someone sawing a person in half. I mean, really, magic, right? Magic can be so much more tremendous if you really, take it on in the way that is beneficial. And that's what I love about, meeting people, because with every person, there's a different story, and there's different information, and there's so many things that I can learn. And, and I'm really excited about getting to know you a little bit today. And like I did with Yvonne, I always like to go back to, like, the genesis of, like, what made you you. Your parents, or where were you born, or, were you in a manger? I don't know, but there could be so many ways, but kind of tell us a little bit about, like, your upbringing and your background that kind of made you you.
Okay, that sounds good. And we all have a past, and we all have a story, and we all have our insecurities, and we all have our vulnerabilities. And so with that, I think we all are really connected. And I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky. I was born in Washington, D.C., but I was 3 when my parents moved us, all 5 kids, I'm the youngest of 5, to Kentucky. My dad was actually born and raised in the coal mines of Kentucky in Appalachia.
Wow.
And he was able, I know, right? Crazy. Like he was a coal miner for, I think, 1 summer when he was 18. And his father was actually killed in the coal mines. He was killed working in the coal mines. So I never knew my dad's dad. Didn't get to hear a lot of stories about him. My dad was very private. He was a World War II veteran, and didn't share a lot about that. And coming from the Depression era, he was able to escape Appalachia. He was able to get a college education on the GI Bill, and he met this beautiful little Italian, my mom, in Washington, D.C. So you got this Kentucky hillbilly, and then this little hot Italian, and boom, can you imagine 60 years of that? Was
wow.
Like, crazy. They loved each other, but I'm going to say it too was dysfunctional in many ways. I was very much loved by my parents, but there was a lot of talk about what we didn't have in life. And so that mindset starts, those seeds of abundance happen when you're a child, right? Whether your view on wealth. And I always was like that girl that, I felt inside insecure, that I didn't have what the other girls had. I had the hand-me-downs, and, we'd had to wait till dad got paid in order to get maybe a pair of jeans or something. We weren't destitute. My dad grew up destitute, but that mentality of that really did trickle in to the way I was living. And I remember as a child, like 8 years old, just walking down on a Sunday afternoon the streets, and I was just bored out of my mind and just saying, dear God, please show me a place other than here. And I grew up in a beautiful city, Lexington. Now that I left it, I'm like, wow, I was really lucky.
Wow.
But, but I knew I wanted more, and I wanted to travel the world. And I asked the universe, how can I see the world? And this is another story, but I've been on all 7 continents, and that's really quite extraordinary. When I was a child, I put it out there. And I just put it out there into the universe. So I think even as a child, I was always open to growing myself. Um, and that translated into me moving to Arizona when I was 18. Didn't know that I was moving there. I just was visiting friends in Tucson, but I ended
Yeah.
up not going back.
Right. Yeah. I actually have a story similar to that. The first time I lived in Arizona, I actually was moving to San Diego, and I stopped off at my mom's on my way to San Diego. And I never got to San Diego because my mom wouldn't let me go. Different way, but that's how I stayed in Arizona the first time. And but I love what you're painting about your childhood, that it seems like you really were reflective in your own environment, the youngest of five, and you probably got to see a lot of the personalities of your siblings, the four siblings that were older than you, and how they were manifesting who they were and what they were doing. And I'm sure it probably helped, create and define you and what you wanted out of life. I mean, 7 continents. I mean, that sounds pretty amazing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to travel the world, and of course you picked the best place, Arizona, right? So
Yeah.
but how did some of this refine you and start changing you? Like, the best thing I like to say is, like, what was like maybe one of your pivot points that where you had all this background, you start putting together, and you started saying, you know what, I'm starting to understand my why in what you want to do in life. What did that look like for you?
It's such a great question, Robert. And I was listening to Yvonne's story, and I'm going, wow, there's so many similarities here. And I knew I was destined for something bigger in my life. I just didn't know what that would look like. And as we age, even in your 20s, you think you're doing the best you can at that time, right? So
Yes.
I knew I wanted to be in television news. Ended up being a television news journalist for almost 20 years, and including here in the Arizona market in Phoenix and in Tucson. And I gave that up many, many years ago when my children were really little. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I was an older mom, and I just didn't want to have to give up my weekends anymore and my holidays, which, that business is very demanding. I loved it for many years, but then I knew it was my time. I was done. And so I'm like trying to always reinvent myself. So I still knew I did a lot of service work in television news. I loved like giving to community. I loved stories that made a difference, not the bleeds it leads stories. I
Yeah.
hated doing those stories, but I had to do them anyway. But I always did the Mother Marisa stories. They was call me the Mother Marisa of Box 10, and I loved that at the time because I loved doing health stories. I loved doing stories that mattered to children. Always into science, so I always loved that type of thing in the body and how it responds. So here I started. Wow, I'd always been into health and wellness, and I had a health beat as well in different markets. And so when I gave up TV news, I still did some marketing and PR and consulting from home. But then it was when I was a student of yoga, love yoga, and I decided 10 years ago to become a teacher. And not for money, obviously, but because I loved it. I wanted to be a better student. And so I went to training. And so I have a 700-hour certification. I've done 3 different yoga trainings, and I've been to India a couple of times for part of that training. And so I was always into mind, body, spirit connection, and just soulful connections and authentic conversations, and just really just being one-on-one and normal with people, and getting rid of all the other fake stuff that, is so much the stuff that's um, cloudy, I guess. So I wanted to be around more transparency in my life. And I found that through yoga. And because of yoga, um, I was I was introduced to something else that, oh my gosh, my purpose. So I teach yoga and meditation, which is, it is the hygiene of life for me. It's like brushing your teeth. You got to get the plaque out, and you're getting the plaque out. Right?
And I want to get in there on that because you're enthusing me here. And I feel like a lot of my life, Marisa, a lot of my life has always been about taking people out of life. You know,
Mm.
and so much of what goes on, especially in technology. When I was working for all these companies with Intuit and GoDaddy and Let's Go Private Ledger, you know, all management and all the algorithms, all we wanted to do was to control the person's mind so they could only see what we
Oh.
were offering them. And I have found that even my sons, and I mean, wow, they're almost like at times cyborg. It's like we're trying to train people to become so disconnected, and I feel like, you know, it takes us away many times from knowing. It takes us away from loving. It takes us away from purpose, and it takes us away from being a part of the universe. And it creates a space where we are apart from the universe. And I think that there's a big difference between the two. And I believe that if you're in business, you know, businesses are there to make money, but you do it with integrity and sincerity and with love and you know, almost like, you know, mentoring life itself. And you know, so much of what I see nowadays is, like you said, if it bleeds, it leads. And that really is taking really the social dynamic of human beings from our true self. And you know, and what I'm starting to understand, and I would like to learn more about yoga, is that it actually, you know, we talked about centering and grounding and balancing with Yvonne, and that's what I see that yoga does. Would you explain a little bit more about how yoga works for people like me who hear the word and it sounds cool, but we really don't understand what it does?
Well, it does so much, because yoga is not just a physical practice. Yoga is about being mindful. It's about having nonviolent thoughts towards yourself and towards others. It's about being clean in your mind, being clean in your body, being clean in your home. It is about, you know, there's so much. It's about meditation or getting quiet and still within yourself. It's just about really becoming a very conscientious human being on this planet and doing the best and giving back to community. And many of us do these limbs of yoga, and we may not even know that that's what we do. Yoga is not a religion. Yoga is just a way of life. And if you know, if you got to nurture the body, and you have to nurture the mind, and you need to make your bed in the morning, like, and you need to take a shower and not work in your pajamas, and you need to show up for yourself. That's yoga. It's showing up for yourself and for others. What can you do to change other people's lives to make them better? And so, yes, the physical is amazing. I love it. And it's about breath. It is all about the breath. And before we get out of bed in the morning, you know, I give 10 gratitudes before I even get out of bed, with my left hand on my heart and my right hand on my left hand. And I just breathe each one of those 10 gratitudes into my core being, into my, you know, 73 trillion cells that I have, to nurture those cells, to make these cells happy, because we're all energy and our thoughts become things. So if we are not feeding our brain, feeding our mind, feeding our heart, feeding our soul with positivity, with you can call them affirmations. I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
just talk kindly to yourself, you know, that you are enough. I just made a post on my Facebook today, you know, about I am enough challenge, and challenging people. Flip and write it on your mirror in your kitchen, or in your bathroom, and be enough for yourself. Show up. So one of the things, like even this morning when I was teaching yoga, I teach hot, I teach a Himalayan fusion, which is like mantra and breath work and flow and many other things. Is cool. And just a flow class, you know. And it's, you can be, people go, I can't do yoga. Yes, you can. Everybody can do
Yes.
yoga. It doesn't matter what size you are, how old you are, how young you are. Everybody can do yoga if you can breathe, right? Because that is the greatest gift we have. We come into this world with our breath, and we leave this world on the last breath, right?
Yes.
So let's make the breath show up in your life, and this magic is part of the breath, and it's part of our mindset, just like Yvonne was talking about the energy that we have. And it's also nurturing our body with nutrition and nutrigenomics, which is food for the DNA, for the genes. And we can talk a little bit about that. But one of the things I want to say is, when I was on my yoga mat and I was teaching today, you know, a lot of times they go, oh my gosh, I was so off today. I was terrible. I just don't know what happened. I just couldn't balance.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a laboratory of life, your yoga mat. And it's very reflective of what's going on in your world. Do you have high cortisol levels? Are you stressed out? And if is your mind chattery? Are you talking all the time and not letting other people? Are you listening? All of those things that create who you are today. And so your life can be a little choppy, then you might have a little choppy practice. But when you're feeling in alignment on your mat, it's pretty reflective. It's like the laboratory of life, that mat
Yeah,
is.
I love that because it really is. It's like a snapshot of your whole being at that time.
It really is. And it's just, to me, I just love it. I have to, I do it every day. So it's important.
And I've had a spiritual mentor in my life, and in San Diego when I lived there, we would go to the Buddhist temple, and Buddhist the same way. It's a practice. It's not a religion. It's a practice,
Mm-hmm.
and practicing breathing techniques, practicing meditation. I mean, I even say this. I used to be a youth minister, and I said, Jesus, Yeshua went to 40 days and 40 nights to meditate. It wasn't to pray in the original scriptures. It was to meditate. And it's one of the things I feel like in a lot of spiritual journeys that people don't do enough. We're taught to pay, pray, and obey, but we're not taught enough to actually, meditate. And that's actually really the way that you can get, in my opinion, connected with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And as a business owner, I believe, what's great about belief is it fires a certain amounts of faith. So if I believe something's going to happen, it probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Just as like if I believe something's not going to happen, guess what? It probably won't. So what I choose to believe is if I choose to bank on life will be fruitful for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I treat Network Together in the iNETrepreneur community is, it's creating a space where everyone can go to grow. And I think that is really important because it's like you said, we all need to make money. We all need to contribute. We all need to make impact, but let's do it in a place where we can do it collectively, not necessarily always independently. Because it goes back to, like you said, in our snapshot, are we trying to be apart from the world? Or are we trying to be a part in the world with each other? And that's what I feel like you do as well. You help people get connected, very quickly and center themselves and ground themselves so their journey can be what? More beautiful.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's like, imagine a world that is abundant where both financial and physical health come together. And you asked me how I got to my journey. That it was the yoga, and it introduced me to an opportunity that was in alignment with who I was from a health standpoint, and then educating the world, educating people, or an opportunity to educate the world, to say,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can have a global business and I can help others, as opposed to some of these, we need corporate America. Of course we do. But look at how many people are losing their jobs. I have a friend whose husband just got laid off last week. And, no rhyme or reason why, they're condensing. That's why. And so what is our plan B? Do we have a plan B? Because if you are only banking on one source of income, you're in a very scary place. And that is something that I didn't know anything about for a long time. I'd always been on this hamster wheel of life. Yoga is great. I loved it, but it wasn't paying the bills.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But it was truly, I was in a funky place at the time. My mom had died unexpectedly when I became a new teacher. And so I really quit doing any marketing and PR and just immersed myself in yoga and my kids and my husband. I have an 18-year-old now and a 21-year-old. And, it was overhearing conversation at yoga from another teacher. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I had to know, because I'd always been into health and wellness. And so then I learned about this new science of today, the science of now in wellness care. We're not talking about sickness care. We're talking about let's optimize our cellular health. It begins at the DNA level. And what if you knew of something that, could turn on pathways in your DNA naturally with the highest levels of clinical peer-reviewed research? Would you want to know about it? Addressing the theories of aging. So that is my passion as well. They work really good hand to hand, and bless people.
Totally. And that's what and that's what I really try to impress upon people. It could say nutraceutical, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that it's good for you. Many times it's not. I always really say, and I say this so much until I'm blue in the face, and someday someone will believe me, but I say you can have all the wealth in the world, but it means nothing without great health.
Absolutely. Yes, I actually just spoke about that. You can have all the goals and the dreams and all the money in the world that you want, but if you are not taking care of your health, if that is just on the sidelines and you're just going like this, it doesn't mean anything, because without our health, nothing else matters. And this isn't nutraceuticals. This is nutrigenomics. So It's this nutrition for the genes. It's out there. And researching NRF2 is huge. Master regulator of the cells. And, our bodies have a incredible way of healing themselves. If we tap into that, just like Yvonne was talking, if we tap into that energy, into the thoughts, all of that, but we still have to eat right. If you're eating French fries and pizza every night, then you're going to have some, residual effects of that over time. Sorry, but you are. Or smoking cigarettes. And who smokes anymore? I mean, come on. And,
it's like they say, we truly are what we eat.
We truly are.
And even what we eat isn't what it used to be. And many people like me, I'm an urban gardener. Because I know from seed to shelf what goes into my body when I grow it myself.
I love that. I love that. You are what you eat.
You are what you eat. Now, I'm enjoying myself so much. I'm having the best time with you because I can see what you see, and I see that you have such a wonderful, wonderful passion for people and your clients. And you and I are going to have many, many, many more conversations. But what I want to do now is I just want to make sure that everyone can get a hold of you. I know that we have your information scrolling across the screen. What are other ways that people can get in touch with you, Marisa?
Okay, so, Facebook is great. Marisa Maggio, look at Maggio hyphen. There is a hyphen there, Harelson, and it's not Woody Harelson with 2 R's, it's 1 R. So, and Marisa's 1 S. So, so you can get me there, either my personal page, you can send me a message. You can also reach me on my wellness page on Facebook called Marisa's with apostrophe S, Total Wellbeing. And that's a good way. Or my email, mharelson@me.com. So that's MHARELSON@me.com. So I'd love to talk to people. I hope that you guys have that PDF. That is an electronic PDF that's just 6 ways to biohack. We're talking about biohacking here, by taking control of your health, right? Through many different means. It can be intermittent fasting, it can be red light therapy, and bonus, I'll do a 30-minute consultation with you. I can also do a free meditation with you if you've been one of those people that go, I want to meditate but I just can't. Yes, you can. And those are the people that need to meditate more.
Yeah, I agree 110% with that. So you and I will talk more. I would love to invite you into our community because your voice needs to be heard.
Thank you.
I truly believe those who are healthy succeed far faster and quicker than those who aren't healthy.
It is my passion. I feel like I was born for this, and the flow of life from the past to today has set me up for everything. And I'm going, yes, now I know I'm making a difference in the world. and And that's not to toot my horn. It's because we need this world to be healthy. More today than ever before, we need to optimize our immune system. And, you know, if people are concerned about that, please reach out to me and let me educate you, give you some information so that you can make a conscious decision as to what you want to do with your life and your health.
Just taking life back. That's what it really is. Marisa, thank you so much for being here today with me. I have enjoyed our conversation tremendously. And I know that you have what matters most. And that's what I want all entrepreneurs to have. It's an energy and a passion for people. And I think that that's what sells better than anything else. No product, no pill can give you that. So thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
Join the 1% Club and become a #1 bestseller. 1% of entrepreneurs maximize their SEO and marketing. You are invited to become a contributing author for the guaranteed best-selling book, 365 Quotes from Networkers. Contact your show host to find out how. Join the 1% Club today.
Wow, that is wonderful. Please don't forget about the Art of Connection, 365 days of networking quotes. But right now we have Ingrid is here. Hi, Ingrid. How are you? Hi. I see the energy. I see the beauty. I'm hoping it is your mic on.
Hey, last but not least, hello people.
Hi. Well, I am enjoying my conversations with Marisa and Yvonne, and right now we have Ingrid Essawova.
There you go. It's like we have a 5-second delay.
Are we being monitored? Is the PC police out there keeping us from having our conversation?
You know?
Ingrid, I think that we're having some technical difficulties. So what I'm going to do is we have a few minutes left in the show. You and I, let's create a space and time to have you back on the show. Health and wellness is an integral part of the iNETrepreneur network. I'm going to have Marisa and Yvonne come back on the show for just a second, and then we will close that out. But I will bring you on the show another time. I'm sorry this feed wasn't able to come through. Thank you, everyone who's in the audience right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring Yvonne and Marisa back on. Well, hey guys, how are you? Thank you. I don't normally bring my guest back onto the show, but I just wanted to make sure that we had the fullness of the hour to everyone who's listening right now. We usually get anywhere from 200 to 500 views within the first 2 weeks of the show, and you know, for me, I thought we were having such great conversations, all of us. And I want to come back and kind of recircle a few things that we had talked about earlier. You know, one of the things that you brought up, Yvonne, was, you know, family dynamics and, you know, the role that they play in, you know, your life. But, you know, what I want to do is also look forward to there's young moms and there's young dads now. And how do you see family dynamics changing now? Okay, you'll have to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in mute. Yes, you know, the family dynamics has been very interesting. I see a lot of dads staying home more and helping mom with the kids and their spouses, and spouses are going to work, the female going to work more. And it's been interesting because you can see a total support where they're more involved with the housework and mentoring and being there as a strong support for their children. Where in the past, most of the time the men were out working and it was the female spouse sitting at home raising the kids. So I really love the fact that that has been a change. That teaching kids that, hey, this is okay. You can this is normal and this is how we should be, helping each other, staying strong, and doing what needs to be done as a family. And that you even see them in the kitchen a lot too now, so which is fun.
Absolutely. And Marisa, I'm going to see if I can get Ingrid on for the last moments of the show. She's back on. If not, I'll bring us on. We will wrap up together. And I'm really enjoying the conversation that we're having today. So, thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
So hold tight. Well, hi again.
Well, hello. We went to plan B, which is my cell phone. Thank goodness we have a B. I don't know if we have a C, though.
A, B, C, D, as long as we can keep creating them up out of thin air. I am ready to do it.
We have 4 minutes left of your show, right?
Well, we'll extend it a little bit more, but that's okay. We can do that, right?
Let's do this. This is called flying from the seat of your pants, people. Okay, this is what we do.
That's right. And I happen to know the owner, so we're good.
Yeah, connections, no pun intended.
Oh my goodness. So Ingrid, thank you so much for being on. I mean, I've said this, many times, and I don't want to be a broken record, but I have really enjoyed the conversations that we've had so far today. Getting to learn about the backgrounds and how energy plays a role in the entrepreneur's life. And and I want to do the same thing with you. I mean, I really don't. We know each other, but we don't know each other. And it's like the book. We can look at the cover all day, but until we read the pages, all we see is the cover. And so I'm going to start just like I did with Marisa and Yvonne. And, tell me a little bit about those early years, the background, where you're from and what was it like in your family life and what were your parents like?
Sure. Well, it all started in 1965.
Okay.
In a little town, Prague, in the Czechoslovakia.
Prague.
Yes.
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
If you look on the map, there is no Czechoslovakia.
Well, back then in the Oh, and here we are again. I love technology. Yes. So then, when the Russians invaded, my parents had choice whether it was US, Canada, Austria. And because of the Vietnam War, my parents actually chose Canada. So I lived in Alberta, Red Deer, Alberta. Then after that, went to Vancouver and then Toronto. So yes, if you hear a Canadian accent, how about that?
Wow.
Sorry. So yes,
I hear lots of accents, so I don't think I can pin you down to one.
There you go. So I was an only child. Still am an only child, as I know. And that was kind of tricky because we literally left with just the clothes on our back, and maybe I had the most things, which is maybe a little suitcase. And that's some of the stories that you've been hearing today. Common is we were not from wealthy families. Our families really had a challenging time, and it's kind of challenging time as being an only child. And I saw a lot of things that were there that weren't there, and hence an intuitive. And, life proceeded. So from Canada to California, and then California here to good old Arizona.
Well, I like that you say that, because I feel like so much of the time, not everyone, but more often than not, I feel that those challenges really shape us. And, the more challenges that we can have, the deeper the shape becomes. And, my mom used to always talk about the pearl in the shell. And and the pearl would always be created because of the irritation of the sand, and the sand would irritate that living organism inside there. And so what they would do is they would cover that sand up so it wouldn't be irritating, but it becomes so beautiful. And that's what it reminds me. A lot of entrepreneurs, we're first generation people. We get up, we put our, bootstraps on, we get our meditation on. We look at the world in such a way where, how can I make impact? How can I take this time and space and create something beautiful, for others, and vice versa. And that's one of the things that I hear that you've done. In fact, I had a meeting with someone today who you work with, and she says, if it wasn't for Ingrid, I don't think I would have been able to get past the loads of baggage that I've been clinging onto. And that's a testament. Do you not think that just offloading all those loads of baggage is helping her or hurting her in her entrepreneurial journey?
Well, you see, we're here on earth. It's a privilege to be here on earth. We're here to have betrayal, to have shame, guilt, self-judgment, and go through deaths and go through challenges so we can be more our soulful self. These are all opportunities to be our soulful self, which is absolutely perfect, has unconditional love. So we're here to have more unconditional love, more forgiveness, more patience, more kindness. So every single time you're going through a situation, people, it's time to celebrate. I always go like this, going, yes, there's a situation. Can I have a tequila first, though? Very good. So, so the thing is that there's an opportunity. Are you going to go down this pathway, which is full of ego, or are you going to go anything but love is ego? So are you going to turn the other way and just do everything to do with love? And where you can only do that when you connect to yourself, so you can manage and navigate yourself 100%. Because when you're connected outside of yourself to everyone, everything, every concept, the weather, except we are in Phoenix, it's really good here. When you're connected to everything outside of yourself, you're waiting for the approval. You're waiting for people to say the right things, to do the right things, and that necessarily isn't always so. So I believe that the biggest way we can do service to other people, because that's why we're here. We're here to heal. We're here to serve. But we are here to serve. We have to take care of ourselves first, and take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and energetically, in order to deliver truth 100% of the time without judgment. And when you're your best self, you're able to resonate and give advice and be that business person with others when you are your best self, because you don't want to do things and because of obligation, guilt, fear of judgment of others, fear of judgment of yourself. You want to do things authentically. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I want to go back to where you started on this. And and it's a recurring theme today, and it's the word love. And, so many times in the business environment, it's a word that you don't hear in business as business very much. You don't think of the accountant, with love. You don't think of the landscaper in love. You don't think of the baker with love, the retail shop owner with love. And one of the things that I like to say is, do you want your accountant to love what they do? Or do you want your accountant to hate what they do? And I make that because it's a question I really never heard asked very often. I mean, if you love what you do, I've always been of the mindset and the heart set that if you love what you do, you're going to serve others at the highest of levels. If you hate what you do, I'm not going to hire you. But it matters. Love matters even in business. And so much of the time, love isn't given the actual credit that it deserves. You know, we talk about loving a spouse or loving a child or loving a place or loving your BMW or something like that. But the thing is, do you love what you do? Do you love the way that you do it? And do you love the community that you serve? I think that's a very important question to answer.
And there is, once again, as you always say, what is your why? And whatever you're doing, what are you making more important? Are you making money more important than loving what you do? Why aren't you living your passion? Because we're here to serve. And when we say to serve, that means we are living our purpose, because either we have a product or we have a service. We it's for monetary value or volunteer, but we're here to put a smile on someone else's face, because we are making a difference in their lives. Whether it's if I'm an artist and there's a painting on the wall, every time you pass by the living room, you're going to smile, and that will create this energy within. Whether you're an IT person, and sometimes that's really, really handy.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
And if you're doing it because it's your purpose and you make us happy, believe me, you make us happy.
You know, I think about this, Ingrid, and I think about this with Yvonne and Marisa as well. And, you know, Marisa talked about corporations. You know, our corporations are going away. And, you know, and really it's funny. You know, I look at it as that corporations are just evolving into community, because what was once done by corporations is actually really being done by lots of entrepreneurs creating communities so they can serve each other. You know, the accounting department's turned into the accountant, right? The human resource department is actually turned into a professional development coach. You know, the advertising department is actually turned into maybe a digital marketer. You know, and I think what's really interesting and fascinating about the way that life is going, if you just look at energy in the most elemental form, is in a way, it's like we have been given a gift, all of us now, in the way where there's a breakdown of what was tried and true and what had been before us for the last 100 years. And it's all falling apart. It's all breaking. It's all crumbling.
It's crumbling to truth.
Yes. And it's
crumbling to truth.
And what we're seeing now is people are good, you know, technology in certain ways and corporations, all this has done its best to just tear us all apart and keep us from each other. But what I'm finding is now a lot of people are being let go of jobs. And you know what's allowed them to do? To actually find what you said, their soulful self, their purpose, their passion, and their people. And that's what's really amazing to me, because, you know, I believe that we live in probably the most perfect time in human history to actually be able to have everything around us that we need right now. We've never had this before, have we?
Correct. And the thing is, I personally, where this particular climate is concerned, I believe it's a celebration. Mother Earth is saying thank you. There are dolphins in the Venice Canal, for God's sakes. But the thing is that people finally have to be accountable, and they are put to look at the mirror. Sometimes literally, because they're in their home and everywhere they turn, they have to look at themselves. And you know, you were saying something about corporate America. I remember about 15 years ago, I have this attorney friend. She's a one-woman show, and she's quite a big deal in California. And she was thinking of letting go her Century City address in the office because it's very expensive. And back then, 15 years ago, I said, these days it's about credibility. The fact you have that address, it's credibility right off the bat. Well, we had a conversation yesterday, and we're talking about the office, and I said, guess what? It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Let go of that office. If you need a conference room, they have now offices that you just rent the conference room. Nobody cares anymore because everything is online. You are still going to be great. Look at how different in the corporate in terms of what mattered before, in terms of credibility, about that address, about that thing that made you. And now it's more about people. It's
It
about the
is.
heart. What is the substance you are now? Now the fingers are being pointed. And I don't know about you, Robert, but I am celebrating. Ah!
Absolutely. And it is a time for celebration because, you know, a lot of people are, you know, and you know, so many times I hear this as a bad word, are forced to make a change. You know what? But sometimes being forced to make a change is not always a bad thing.
It's
Sometimes
always a good
it is.
thing. It's always
like,
a productive.
like,
We don't mean
right.
good.
Yeah, it's like being forced to do something, you know, is a bad thing. No, no. Am I forced to get up in the morning? Maybe. Am I forced to eat my Wheaties? Maybe, or Brussels sprouts? Am I forced? You know, what am I really being forced to do now? I mean, we have more options and opportunities than any other time in recorded history. And
Correct.
you know, and it's my goal and it's my belief that all of us, you know, here's a saying I say, Ingrid, I say, it takes all of us collectively, it takes all the little monies of the world to compete against the big monies. And once we start understanding that collectively together, we are so much more powerful than being independent islands of to ourselves.
I see it different. I see it different, Robert. I feel that we've been doing that for way too long. We are too much leaning on those emotional pillars outside of ourselves,
Right.
waiting for people. And you have to understand that people have different journeys and they get to be themselves. They should be themselves. We are so powerful, Robert. Give us more. Give us more credit than that because we are a force to deal with. We are actually independent. Did you know that when you're connected to yourself and you're emotionally independent, there is no anger, frustration, worry, disappointment, judgment, fear, none of that. So could you imagine if we all were able to do it and then we come as a community and create that energy? Because after all, today's topic is energy.
Well, and I love that you say that because I was going to get to my little punchline, and my punchline is I'm always asked, how do you create a better community? And
By taking care of yourself.
Yes, yourself. And I always, exactly. So that's where I was going with that. So I think we have it the same because I always say you make a credibility by making a better self.
Correct. And letting go all the heavy emotional weight on your shoulders. Go to the core because nothing is about other people or other things. Everything is about you. It's about what you have to live with, what you have to live without, and all the changes that it takes place. Once you have that mastered, oh my goodness, just simple manifestation and it's done. Because energy doesn't wait for 30 days, you know.
Yeah,
It happens
energy and change
immediately.
are immediate. You know, they are.
Immediately.
So let me so I have your information scrolling across the screen there. Tell us, you know, what are the best ways to get a hold of you, and are you offering anything for those who are listening right now?
Absolutely. Let's do a 10-15 minute phone consult. See if it is a fit for you. What does a fit mean in terms of my clients? Robert, these are my clients. Okay, here we go. Ingrid, I'm done. I am done with all the drama. I am done of going in circles. There needs to be a shift and evolve. Let's get this done. Come on, let's go. Those are 100% of my clients. So let's have a phone consult for about 10 minutes for free. And let's see if it's a fit. If you feel comfortable in that conversation, I'm going to give you 1 hour free session. You can do it in person downtown Phoenix at the Urban Wellness Center, or online or by phone. And there we kind of dig in a little bit deeper on your top 4 heaviest emotional weights that you still carry to this day, along with a little PowerPoint presentation about some of the things that we were even talking today on, and see if this particular method of connecting to yourself and navigating is for you. If so, I created a boot camp, which is also for free. That's my gift to the universe. I give it twice a month, 1 topic, 3 hours, and 22 questions, and that level of pain and heartache is gone, guaranteed. And in between, my sessions are under $100, and I always promise my clients that they will always stay under $100, because everyone deserves to heal. Everyone deserves to afford it. So give me a call or go to at 818-800-8946. It's scrolling right there underneath, and or just go to simplytrue.com. Again, that's simplytrue.com. If you're ready to evolve and shift, I'm ready right here to assist.
Well, I am very grateful, Ingrid, for you to be here today. And I am sure our conversations, yours and mine, are just starting. So thank you for being a part of our show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored and blessed. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, everyone, it was truly a blessing for me to have this show today. It's not very often that I have 3 incredible, I'm going to call them like energy healers. That might be a great way. Stellar people on the show. Each one of them has passions for their audience in different ways, but each one of them treats their communities with love and respect and meaning. And that's what we should do with all of our clients, whether you're an accountant or a landscaper, or you clean pools for a living, or you're a life coach. It really is about the audience that you serve. And I know one thing that I believe: the more you love what you do, the better your audience gets served. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great week. I'm Robert Jones of the iNETrepreneur Network. Until next week, when we start our show at 2:30 Arizona time, and we end it normally at 3:30, but I was having too much fun to have a short show today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.